The fluorescent light. The problem isn't the sound of the conveyor belts. It's not the beep of the scanner. Not even the crinkle of the plastic bags. It's the silence between it all. It's when no one sees you. Even while standing tall in a neon yellow vest, behind a counter bathed in fluorescent lights that only make you feel more invisible. My name is Elijah. Elijah Moreno. I'm 36 years old. I've worked as a supermarket cashier for 7 years. 7. And each of those years feels like a movie no one wants to watch. I started here back in 2018. It was a Wednesday. I remember because that day my daughter asked for a milkshake from McDonald's, and I had to explain. Maybe on the weekend, sweetheart. Maybe. Like always. Back then I thought this job was just temporary, a stepping stone. 2 or 3 months until something better came along. The something better never came. But the bills did. The first hour. My shift starts at 6 a.m. I arrive before the lights are even on. The parking lot is still empty. The fog clings to the carts left behind from the night before. I swipe my badge. The gate clicks open with a sharp snap. I stopped flinching at that sound years ago. I walk in. The staff room smells like old coffee and quiet despair. Clean uniforms hang like ghosts from metal hooks. I put on the vest. Pin my name to my chest. Elijah. The time clock reads 5:57. Beep. The store opens at 7. But cashiers have to be ready by 6:30 because of the early bird club, the ones who buy milk, bread, and loneliness. Faces that don't look. Sometimes when I scan a box of cereal, I look up and smile at the customer, just out of habit. What I get back is a glance at a phone, or to the side, or straight at the groceries, as if I were just another shelf. Some people stretch out their card without saying a word. Others grunt. One day, a man in a suit threw his wallet onto the counter. He said, "You're here to serve, not to talk." I swallowed hard, wanted to scream, but I smiled. Like always. The cameras. You don't need a watch when you work here. The cameras do that for you. They rotate, they watch, they record. They say it's for security. But I know they watch us more than the customers. The other day I stood still for 38 seconds. I was waiting for the next customer to organize her cart. I was called into HR. You looked distracted. The manager saw you standing still. "Is everything okay at home?" I answered with a plastic smile and a knot in my throat. The 15 minutes breaks are 15 minutes, 1 per shift. 15 minutes to walk to the back, cross the canned goods aisle, open the back door, enter the staff room, sit down, eat, and return. I've tried eating in silence, but the ice machine always hums in the background. There's always someone complaining about their back, someone else saying, "I can't take this anymore." A new girl, Diana, started last week. During her second break she cried, said she didn't know if she could handle it. I didn't know either, but I stayed. Prices that don't change. The pay's been the same for 3 years, $14.25 an hour. After taxes, I pay rent, utilities, and, ironically, sometimes buy food from the very store I work in. In secret, of course, employees aren't allowed to shop during their shift, so I leave a bag in the staff room and grab it at the end of the day. It's almost poetic, you know, surrounded by food and still hungry at the end of the month. The day I broke. It was a Saturday. Long line. Customer with 112 items. Card declined. She screamed at me, said I was incompetent, said I should learn how to do my job. The manager stood at the end of the aisle. Didn't help, just watched. When she left, my hands were shaking. My eyes welled up. I took a deep breath and scanned the next item. Lives that don't fit in a cart. Sometimes I wonder what customers see when they look at me. Do they think I chose this? Do they imagine this yellow vest was my life's goal? When I was 16, I dreamed of being a chef. Cooking in New York, plating dishes like art, maybe being on TV. Then my mom got sick. My dad left. And I became the dad. A world between beep and next. Being a cashier is living in cycles. With every customer, you try to reset what just happened. But words linger. So do expressions. There was a woman once, red lipstick, impatient eyes, who snapped at me because I scanned 2 bags of rice without asking if she wanted both. You people always mess up. That's why you earn so little. I stayed quiet. She didn't know I had just sold my bike to pay for my daughter's antibiotics. She didn't need to know, but she didn't need to spit poison either. The subtle violence of polite racism. There's a type of customer that never looks me in the eye. Always waits for the blonde girl at register 2. One day I overheard him say, "I prefer her. She speaks better English." I was born here, Newark, East Ferry neighborhood. But that doesn't matter. My name, my skin, my soft accent, they seem to bother some people. Another day, a woman stared at me too long. I thought I'd made a mistake. Then she asked, "Are you legal here?" It took me a second to understand. She meant, "Do you have papers?" Yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. But for some reason, people still ask. The moment I was seen last winter, an elderly woman dropped a coin. I bent down to pick it up. She stopped me sharply. "Don't bend down. You already do too much." Something broke inside me right then, maybe because she saw me. Not as a cashier, not as a uniform, but as someone who bends down out of instinct, even when tired. I still remember the way she said it. "You already do too much." Like she meant, you already carry the world. Between breaks and escapes, Diana didn't come back. They said she had a panic attack, locked herself in the bathroom for 20 minutes before anyone noticed. The manager said she didn't have the emotional profile. As if that was a flaw, as if that was a choice. I wanted to lock myself in the bathroom too, but I never had the courage. Or time. When time freezes but your body moves. Some days, my legs go numb. The floor feels like it's pulling me down. I balance myself between serving, smiling, being fast, and looking thankful. A customer once told me, "You should be happy you have a job." She was on the phone while she said it. Never looked at me. Happy? Would she be happy with back pain, cold in her bones, a frozen salary, and the constant feeling of being easily replaceable? Dreams in plastic bags. My daughter asked me the other day, "Dad, when are you going to leave that store?" I didn't know what to say. She's 9. She's seen me humiliated. She's seen me cry in the bathroom when I thought no one was listening. She deserves more. So do I. But the system is like a conveyor belt that never stops. And we're just another item rolling on it. The system wants you tired. The company says they care about employees. But breaks are timed. Complaints disappear. And any attempt to question something becomes negative attitude. Last year, I suggested placing a fan near the registers because the AC didn't reach us. The next month I was cut from the overtime list. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe the system doesn't like people who think. Only those who obey. What's left? This morning before heading to work, I looked in the mirror. I saw a man who used to be a boy with dreams. Someone who once danced in his mom's kitchen. Who once dreamed of writing a cookbook, who once loved, but today just survives. A body present, a soul absent. The mind checks out before the body does. It's a silent shutdown. You still scan items, still say good morning, still force a smile, but inside, there's nothing left. I was running on autopilot, like a badly programmed robot stuck in a loop. Days that blur together. One month I couldn't even tell what day it was. Sunday felt like Wednesday. Saturday like Monday. The only thing that changed was the sky on my way to work, and how many bags I'd packed by the end of the shift. I started writing the date on the back of my hand with a pen. A desperate way to remember that time still existed, that I still existed. When Tyrell arrived, it was May. Tyrell was new, 22, black, tall, easy smile. He'd just gotten out of jail for something he swore he didn't do. "Man, this job's just the beginning. I'm gonna leave here and start my music studio," he said on his first day. I laughed, genuinely. Rare thing. I used to be like that, believing this job was a bridge, but sometimes bridges become prisons. The cracks start to show. 2 weeks in, Tyrell wasn't smiling anymore. His eyes were heavy. His hands shook when handling change. He spent more time in the bathroom than at the register. I asked if he was okay. He just said, "Man, this is too much weight for too little rest." I understood immediately. I just nodded. No breaks, no mercy. Last month, I only had one full break. The others were interrupted by calls on the radio. "Elijah, can you return to Register 5? The line's getting long." And I go. Always go. Because I know if I don't, someone will write down my name. And in this place, your name is just a number, easily erased. A different night Friday. 8:47 p.m., 13 minutes until closing. The store was nearly empty. Fluorescent lights cast shadows on my face. A man walked in. Worn-out suit. Ancient exhaustion in his eyes. He bought bread, soda, and a candle. At checkout, his card was declined. 3 times. He mumbled, "This is all I have today." Without thinking, I swiped my own card. He didn't say thank you, just looked at me with a mix of shame and relief. I stood still, watching him leave. It wasn't charity. It was recognition. The beginning of the breakdown that night, I went home and didn't eat. Just stared at the ceiling. Tried to remember the last time someone complimented me. Not for smiling. Not for being quick at checkout. But for being human. I couldn't remember. Conversation with my daughter. Saturday morning, I took my daughter to school. On the way, she looked at me and asked, "Daddy, are you always sad?" I swallowed hard, took a deep breath. "No, sweetheart, just tired." She squeezed my hand, her little hand, warm, full of life. "You're my hero, Daddy, even when you're tired." I cried in the car, quietly, so she wouldn't see. No uniform, no pressure. It felt strange not to put on the yellow vest. Strange not to hear the beep of the scanner. The silence at home startled me, but at the same time it held me. I sat for hours just existing, staring at the ceiling, the floor, my worn hands, and thinking, who am I without that badge? The answer didn't come right away, but for the first time in years, I was willing to look for it. Healing through the body. On my 3rd day away from the store, I walked to the park, the one my mom used to take me to. I sat on the wooden bench, listened to the rustling leaves, felt the sun warm my face, not the sun from before the shift, but the noonday sun. Free. I closed my eyes, breathed in, again, and again, until I heard my own heart beating, like it was whispering, "You're still here." The little gig's money started running out fast. Hope alone doesn't pay rent. I started taking odd jobs, mowed lawns, passed out flyers, assembled furniture. Each job was more exhausting than the last, but there was a difference. No one watched me. No one told me to smile. And when I finished building a cabinet or cleaning a yard, someone said, "Thanks, Elijah." 2 simple words. But they gave me more than all those years behind the register. Running into Tyrell. One day at a bus stop, I saw Tyrell. Sitting, headphones on, notebook in hand. "Yo, Elijah!" We hugged. He looked thinner, but his eyes were glowing. "I got a job at a local studio. I clean up, but they let me record at night." He played me a track on his phone. It was good. Really good. He said, We made it out, huh? I replied. We're still trying, but that's already a lot. The inner voice. Some nights, I still hear the beeps, wake up sweating, like I'm late for a shift. It took me weeks to realize trauma has its own schedule. It wakes up with you, goes to sleep with you, and sometimes joins you at breakfast. But I also learned that living isn't erasing the past. It's carrying it with less weight. It's learning not to let it drag you under. The notebook I started writing. I grabbed an old notebook and wrote down memories, stories from the store, about customers, co-workers. I wrote about Diana, about Tyrell, about the candle woman, the coin I wasn't allowed to pick up. Every page was a piece of me recovered. Like by writing it, I was saying, this happened. I saw it. I felt it. I existed. A gift for my daughter. With what little I earned building furniture, I bought watercolor paints, paper, brushes. I handed them to my daughter. She looked at me, surprised. Is this for us to paint? It's for you, but I want to paint with you. We spent hours drawing. She made a sun wearing sunglasses. I painted a cashier's register, with wings. She asked, "Why does it have wings, Dad?" I answered, "So now it can leave whenever it wants." My story doesn't end here. I didn't become a millionaire, didn't publish a book, didn't get invited to give interviews. But now when I walk down the street, I feel lighter. When I hear my daughter laugh, I laugh too. And when I pass a supermarket, I stop, I look, and quietly, I think, I was there. I survived. I chose to leave. Invisible, but not silent. Autumn arrived. The trees began to drop their leaves, as if they understood that sometimes you have to let go of what no longer serves you. It was cold, but a different kind of cold. Now, cold was just weather, not emptiness. A silent visit. I went back to the store, not to work, just to see. I stood across the street, coffee in hand, hands in my pockets. I watched the customers, the automatic back and forth, the rushed glances. Inside, I saw a young guy at register 5, clean face, new, with the same eyes I had on my first day, tired but hopeful. I wondered if anyone was looking at him, if anyone saw him, or if he, too, was just another ghost behind a cart. The letter. That night, I wrote something I never had the courage to say. I wrote a letter, not to management, not to the company, to myself. Elijah, you tried, you endured, you stayed silent for 7 years. You woke before sunrise, swallowed words, ignored pain, smiled when you wanted to scream. You thought you had to earn your right to exist. But the truth is, you always deserved it. The world tried to erase you with exhaustion, but you kept lighting your own flame. You didn't fail. You survived. And now, you live. An ending without an end. My daughter drew a new picture yesterday. It was me and her, in a park, trees all around, blue sky above. She wrote, "My dad is an invisible superhero." Maybe that's true. Not like the ones in movies, but the kind that holds up the world with tired hands and red eyes, the ones who don't appear on covers. But without them, life doesn't work. Final words. If you're hearing this and you're behind a counter too, if you're standing with aching feet and a fake smile, if no one looks you in the eye, I see you. I recognize you. You exist. You matter. You are more than that badge. More than that paycheck, more than that pain. You are human, and no one can take that from you.